Hey, this is James, and we're going to do a special for you here. I am going to be reading from my book called How to Get Off the Financial Tightrope, What You Did Not Learn About Money in School. Now, I wrote this book in 2008, okay? So this will be available online for those who want to buy it. We're going to have a three-tier pricing structure on this. The first tier is just going to be the book alone digital. It's going to be digital downloads. There's no more physical copies out there unless by chance you find one somewhere on the internet. Buy it. That's cool. I may eventually do physical copies of this again, but we'll see. I know I do have a couple physical copies in my somewhere around. I have to find it, probably in my garage somewhere. But anyway, so it'll be the full book, and the full book is going to go for $19. And then the next tier is going to be $29 tier, which is going to be the full book. Okay, remember these are going to be digital downloads. And then what I'm going to be talking about is some videos. I'm going to throw some extra videos on there and some commentary on today's economy and a couple printable worksheets, for example, a budget sheet, a debt sheet, so on and so forth. And then the next tier, the third tier, is going to be $49. That's going to include everything in tier one, the book, obviously, the videos, and the printable worksheets, and then an economic power guide for y'all, which will include applying the principles in 2026 and beyond, and lifetime updates on pretty much any future content. So those are the three tiers. So I'm going to read this book. This book is broken down into 7 days. And with 7 days, we're going to take more than 7 days to write the book. And then from there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this book. This whole book is going to get a new title, but it's going to have a lot of the information that you see in this book here is going to be in the new book, plus updated information from 2008 pretty much until now. It's going to be a loaded book. It's going to be really great. And we'll have the same pricing tier structure. But let's start off with how to get off the financial tightrope. Now, at one time, when I wrote this book, I owned the website howmoneyreallyworks.com. That was the coolest website ever. I had many books on that, including I wrote 2 or 3 other books as well, which right now I'm not going to get into, but those other books were really cool. I'm looking at the back of this book, and what this book here right now is, you can see the back of the book, so I don't know if you can pause that and check that out. That's me right there when I was a little bit of a young man. Where am I? Right there. In a nice suit. I'm a little bit older now. So basically, I'm going to read. Here's the back of the book on what this book is about. It says, remember, this is in 2008, but it just applies to today even more, which is amazing how times do not change when it comes to some of the financial things that we're going to talk about in this book, how you can apply them to today as well. And then, like I said, the 2026 book, when that's written, you'll be able to apply even more. So check this out. I'm going to read right now from the back of this book, okay? And it says, in times like these, you can not depend on the education that you learned in school anymore. It is almost obsolete. You also cannot depend on the government to solve your financial problems. That is so true. Okay? Do you want to stop worrying about money, even when the economy is in a financial mess? Broken down in the 7 days, this book will help you learn what it takes to be a financial success. That's right. How to get off the financial tightrope will help you develop good money habits, show you strategies on increasing your assets, and teach you how to cut down your expenses. Isn't that important? How to increase your assets and how to cut down your expenses. That is so wildly important today because so many people have so many expenses, so much debt, so much financing, so much student loans. It's crazy. Medical bills. Yeah, exactly. Here's what you'll learn in this book, okay? Right here, here's what you'll learn. It says, how to adjust your thinking and attitude about money, how to get out of debt, get a grip on saving money faster, understand how to invest in cash flow real estate. Wouldn't that be pretty cool? Understand the process of opening a business, how to understand what the dollar is really about. That's right. Realize why the rich continue to make money hand over fist even today. And there's a war going on right now in Iran. Do you think the rich are benefiting from it or not? That's your opinion, but they are. Anyway, Realize why people make little money compared to the rich. Now that's interesting, huh? How to relax when it comes to money. So now it's your turn to get off the financial tightrope. Will you make that decision? So a little bit about me, and here in the book, in the back, I'm gonna read right here in the book, okay? And I'm also gonna be revising this book, by the way. So you'll see it in the video in the description, but it's got the old website on there of howmoneyreallyworks.com. No, do not go there. If somebody else owns that, it is not mine. Okay, so I don't know what kind of stuff they're gonna offer you there, but I will, like I said, have a link in the description with the updated book for this. I'm gonna have to change some things like the website, so on and so forth, where to go, and I'm gonna also update this a little bit because in here it has some websites that don't work anymore. So if you want, I can change that as well, and I may not because this is an older book and I don't want to revise it so much that now I've got to do revision 2 of this. But the revision 2, the real revision 2, will come out when this whole thing gets revamped, okay, with a new title, so on and so forth. And you see that there? The little guy right there? The guy who did this for me is running for governor right now in one of the states. Okay? I'm not going to name what state. I think it's Minnesota. I think I forgot. But he did that. Him and I talked about this, and he did this graphic for me. So shout out to him. So anyway, and right there, as you can see, right there, there's your little financial right there. There's the financial freedom little bridge right there. So you got to cross the tightrope. You guys got to cross the tightrope to get to the financial freedom platform right there. All right. So here's a little bit about me. James Rudd, which is me, okay, teaches people how to understand money. He is an author, a speaker, and investor, and the founder of How Money Really Works, which back then it was trademarked. It probably is trademarked today. I still kind of own one of the trademarks on How Money Really Works. It's an organization that it's dedicated to helping people grasp the concept of money and life. He is also the author of How to Get Off the Financial Tightrope, and here's one of the second books I read. No, excuse me, I wrote. Eventually, I may read this. I'm also the author of What You Must Know About Debt and Saving Money. So that's a whole another concept. So anyway, we're going to start this a little bit. So day one, here's a table of contents right there. Okay, I'm gonna read a little bit for this until this timer runs out on my recording. And if it does, I'm just gonna have to continue. And the copyright acknowledgments and oh, you do not know. That is basically the context, the introduction to the book. So let's read it. Oh, you do not know. The need for understanding. So I'm gonna go like this so you guys can kind of see my face, maybe not see my face. I'll look at the camera every now and then. So forth. Oh, you do not know. The need for understanding how money really works and what to do with it is growing at a tremendous pace. And by the way, before I start completely, some of the understanding of grammar that I had back in the day is a little bit off par. Okay, I'm much better with it nowadays, and maybe I'm not because I'm older and I don't care as much about if the grammar has to be perfect or not. As long as you understand the concepts is the most important thing. So anyway, let's get started again. I'll read that first sentence. The need for understanding how money really works and what to do with it is growing at a tremendous pace. People are starting to lose confidence in the 9 to 5 job and are starting to wake up to the realities of this world. The real estate market rise and fall and the escalation of oil prices in the United States have people searching their heads and saying, what's going on here? Sound kind of familiar? The oil prices just went way up. In California, prices are like 579 minimum. It's crazy. All right. Even the stock market in 2007 reached new highs very fast and then came tumbling down even faster in 2008. Wealth is created and wealth is destroyed in this era of time. Therefore, it's very important to understand why this is happening and what people need to do about it. So, when I was writing this book, okay, I was writing this book and I was like, what's a good title? What are people going to learn? What can I learn and apply? So, what I did is I literally busted my behind getting a financial education. All the concepts that I can learn and then apply. Okay. I learned about investing in real estate. I invested in some real estate. Okay, so I'm cash flowing in real estate. I had a Section 8 tenant. I'll talk more about that later in this book. I invested in the stock market some to try to understand the stock market some. I still don't like the stock market so much, but I invested in options. Okay, I had great success in some options and I had great failure. I do not trade options anymore, and I highly stock options. I'm talking about, and I highly suggest that you be very, very careful if you're interested in options. You be very careful with anything that you want to invest in. By the way, everything in here, I'm not giving you investment advice. Okay, this is not investment advice. Go do this, go do that, blah, 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 whatever. Okay, these are concepts, and some of them, like for example, debt snowball, take the highest interest first and get out. You know, you can roll your, if you have a lot of, like you have 3 credit cards, you can roll the highest interest, pay off the highest interest credit card debt first, or you can take the, and we'll do sheets on this later. We'll talk more about this later. Or for credit card debt, if you have a lot of credit card debt, you can take the lowest balance first and get out of that, so that way you have some success. Emergency funds as well. We're going to talk about what's a good emergency fund to save. Is it 500? Is it 1,000? Is it 3 months? Is it 6 months? Blah blah blah. We're going to talk more about that in in this book, in this video, so on and so forth. So let's continue here, folks. All right. So I really fast. One more thought here. I got a lot of stuff on my brain. When I was getting a financial education and learning a ton of things, I started documenting my process, my journey. That's what this book is basically. I wanted to make it so simple of what I learned because it was so freaking complex. I was like, why is the financial world so complex, and why are people so confused on these things? Because it's so complex. And exactly the subtitle, look at that subtitle, folks. What's that subtitle say? What you did not learn about money in school. So important. They did not teach us this stuff in school. We grew up, we worked, and we're like, good luck. What is that? The education system obviously does not care about us enough to teach about money. Now, some schools have that. Some colleges have that. That's great. How to balance a budget, how to maybe get out of debt, so on and so forth. If you happen to be one of the fortunate ones, some people may say one of the lucky ones to take one of those courses, but in school, but they're very rare. So let's continue. So I made this book for y'all. And I made this book because I was like so passionate and so driven. I was like, I have to teach people these financial concepts I'm learning in an easier format so people can understand, because it is so hard, some of it, and why. Maybe it was purposely done so we continue on the roller coaster of the rat race, trying to get that cheese for the paycheck, so on and so forth. Anyway, one of the primary reasons for this financial turmoil, going back to the book, is that there is not enough financial education in the school system, exactly what we just talked about. Furthermore, the United States consumer, including the government, is in too much debt. Look at the deficit of the U.S. government. It's crazy town. Man, if any of us were to get in that much debt, they wouldn't allow us to begin with. Or maybe they would, who knows. But it's crazy town. Anyway, take a look at the government deficit, like I just said, when you get a chance to see what I mean. Also, look at what the average person has in credit card debt. Likewise, people keep adding to the debt with the use of more credit card debt, personal loan debt, and fast payday loan debt. If you were in a payday loan, oh my goodness, try to get out of that as fast as you can, because those things, the interest rate is insanity on those payday loans. Try to make your habits so you stay away from the payday loans, please. All right. Some people are even paying their mortgages with a credit card. Now that's dangerous, folks. If a person pays a mortgage with a credit card and they don't pay that balance off every month, they're getting in more and more debt. They think they're getting in less debt with the mortgage, but if they don't, that's just dangerous. I'm just gonna say that. A person could lose their house or their condo or their co-op or whatever you call it, townhouse. It's dangerous. So I have concluded that this is craziness at its finest hour. If only there were a solution to begin with, And that solution is financial education. Let's move on. I'm going to do part two here because the video is about to stop.